it looks grotesque.
I just think that the focus needs to be on humanity. It needs to be on community. It needs to be on nature. It needs to be on we fit within an ecosystem. We are not above it. Okay? The food chain, the water cycle, all of this stuff is it's the way the earth works. It's we can't go outside of that. You know what I mean? And this is what we forget. We live in these square boxes and we're separated from nature, you know, uh not in reality and mentally, because when a natural disaster happens, we're reminded that we can't control the weather. You know what I mean? We can't stop earthquakes. You know what I mean? We can't stop hurricanes and tornadoes. And when that happens, it gives us a wake up call into reality that, we are part of this system. We're not above it. We're not separate from it. And with our economic system being in the way that it is, it doesn't put that into the equation when we're talking about shareholder profits. You
Hey,
can do worker co-ops. There's other ways you can do this. You know,
listen, if the aliens came down to Earth right now and just evaluated our ecosystem, now, of course, they're aliens. They've got completely different ways of thinking, and their whole paradigm would be unfathomable, probably. But let's just say, for instance, they're carbon-based life forms, and they're somewhat similar to us, and they come by and they're advanced enough to travel from a realm that we couldn't detect them into ours, right? Like, let's just assume all that happened, and they did a quick evaluation. Dude, how would the human species be able to defend itself from an accusation of being a virus?
mm. It's that quote from the Matrix where the guy was like, I'm trying to categorize the humans," and that's what he came up with. He was like, you guys are a virus." I was like, damn, that scene in that movie hit so hard. I was like, whoa.
For real.
Uh, Amarumju, Amarumji, he say, if you were a shareholder, you wouldn't think that entity is bad. Okay, I mean that's fair, but why? First off, the people who are shareholders are the same part of that class or that group. The extremely wealthy, the ones that benefit from it. The rest of us barely have stocks. If we do have stocks, the amount of money that we're making off of it is not anything that's going to really just like allow us to, live off of it. And it's a parasitic type of setup where these people don't create anything. They don't produce anything. They don't do anything. You know, they're just they're living off the labor of others.
Well, I mean, so no system is perfect, right? So I say that from just not necessarily a scientific, but like I'm a relentlessly mathematical individual, and um, I have also the misfortune of being really fascinated with philosophy. And so philosophically, idealistically, like a lot of these things make sense to me, but the math doesn't math. And nothing's ever going to be perfect. And things like, you know, uh, resources and stuff like that, like there's going to be some inefficiency. There's going to be some people that are a little too rich, and there's going to be some people that are a little too poor. But the situation that we have right now is artificially skewed to to grotesquely inflate these two parts of the equation,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But yeah, no, there's always going to be some rich people, but I mean, just spitballing here. I think that if things were working decently, we would have some billionaires still, but we would not have hundreds of thousands of homeless people. We wouldn't have that.
Let me read
It's
this one.
it's
He says it's being a hater when you're upset someone else's growth. Wait, it's being a hater when you're upset at someone else's growth and it bothers you. Well, when it's
oh no.
parasitic, when it's eating up, it's not being a hater. I don't want to be ate. I don't want to be consumed. You know?
I don't know who this living room viewing is, but I think he handled them real quick. You got the chat going over there?
Yeah. Let me highlight the next one. He says, if it grows into a monster, it should bother anyone and everyone. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's a monster. So G says, describe what a monster is. He says, you know what a monster is? Why is his comments doubled up like this? He says, too rich. What happens to being an entity that offsets some of the monsters? Well,
This dude,
look at what our political apparatus is doing. Like you have these government agencies, like um,
well, I
Consumer
mean,
Financial Protection Bureau,
yeah, and
the
they're swallowing
National
those up. Like I don't know
Labor
what this dude is
Board.
talking about. What
They
the entity that offsets some of the monsters? They getting cut down left and right now. What is that dude on about?
That's what I'm talking about. Like it's anything that's trying to level the playing field or just give you a chance. And I don't understand people who defend this stuff. Like these corporations, they have to be checked. You know, these multinational conglomerates, they don't care about nationality. You know what I mean? They don't care about like fairness or given a chance. You know, we got these monopolies. You know, they they'll never be checked. Like you said, they're inhuman entities, so that they aren't going to proceed in a fashion that is conducive to the human condition in a positive way. It's going to naturally behave in uh, an insidious way, you know, by its nature. So, I mean, if you want to have these corporations, then that's fine, but you have to have a check on their power, you know, because if not, then in the future, it's already starting to get to that point where I think that these governments don't even really matter, bro. Like the corporations are running the show. So when it gets to the
Well,
point where, you know, Amazon is the government, you know, and they decide on how your life it lives. You know, there's no
well,
check on the decisions
that
of a Amazon CEO, and then you got
well,
the
there's a
AI
couple of points
involved
where
in control.